Hey guys, Barry at CTech-review. We're gonna do a quick video today. I'm gonna show you doing some basic maintenance to your used vehicle, pay off for fuel economy. We're gonna do a 2,000 mile road trip with our 2019 Lincoln Navigator. We just got shy of 70,000 miles on this thing. And even though it's not due to these scheduled maintenance, like let's say in this example, spark plugs, we're gonna do these anyhow. We're gonna do air filter, and I'm just gonna show you a real quick installation. Anybody with any basic mechanical capability can put spark plugs, air filter in these things. And obviously we're gonna do an oil change before this as well, because it's about 5,000 miles on this oil change. And we want this thing up to snuff, ready to roll for a 2,000 mile road trip. We're gonna do hand calculated versus computer, so you'll be able to see that. Plus I'm gonna talk about the 30-second method when you fill up with fuel. Actually, I'll give credit to the Fast Lane Truck. These guys started doing this about 10 years ago. I was watching your channel, and why the importance of doing this for hand calculated. And let's get into this. We've already done some maintenance items. We've already done transmission fluids, coolant. Today we're going to talk about battery replacement, spark plug change, and air filter. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to be doing about a 2,000 mile road trip. I'm going to circle back and show you guys a video we did here about 2-3 months ago where we did a similar road trip, similar payload, and we'll see the fuel economy. And I'm really curious to see, once we start doing some of these maintenance items, if we see any improvement in fuel economy. All right, we're gonna clean this engine up a little bit before we do our tune-up. This thing has not been cleaned up in, sadly, probably over a year. And it's dirt, nasty, everything gross. So gonna use some of this foamy engine cleaner and clean all this area up before we start doing the spark plugs. Okay, so we just cleaned underneath the hood, and the reason I wanted to kind of degrease this and get everything ready was less dirt on top of the engine is less chance of dirt getting inside of the cylinder when we're changing the spark plugs. We didn't do a real deep cleaning, but I just wanted to kind of get the loose stuff off. We can see our coolant levels are all good. As I mentioned, we've just put a new battery from Costco in this thing. I like going with Costco because they use interstate batteries, have a good warranty and a great price. This is really easy to do. Don't overthink it. You know, positive, negative, remove this, think it's like an 8 mil clamp. It's kind of heavy, I will tell you that. It is an AGM battery, but I will tell you, original battery, guys, lasted, I think this original battery lasted something like 6 years, something like that, 6 years, 4,000 miles. That's really good. So now we're going to do the spark plugs, which is really easy. I've done this on an EcoBoost before, and I'm gonna put a link to Ford Make You Loco. I met Brian last year at SEMA, and I was really impressed. He's a great guy. His channel is extremely informative if you're doing any kind of repairs, maintenance, upgrades on Ford or Lincoln vehicles. He's got a very thorough review of how to install spark plugs on the 2nd Gen 3.5 EcoBoost. So I'm not gonna spend a ton of time talking about this, just a few little tips. And then I'll show you how easy this is to do the air filter. This is something, guys, anybody with any bit of limited tools, limited mechanical capability can do this. Save yourself a few $100. And then we're gonna circle back and check the fuel economy. Okay, so first thing we're gonna do is pop these nuts off and remove the beauty cover off the top of the 3.5 high output. Okay guys, up to this point, took off the top of the engine cover, took an air nozzle, blew the air around, we removed this first coil pack. I'm not replacing, unless I see cracks, I'm not replacing the original spark plug boots. They look like they're in pretty good shape, and I've had pretty good luck with the OEM Motorcraft boots. So I'm just gonna do spark plugs for today's video. We've not had any misfire codes, nothing like that. But so far, what I can tell you is, unclip from the coil-on pack. You can use like a little dental pick. Just be real careful. You pull off the safety on the wire harness, then pinch down at the back. It pops off super easy. 8 mil wrench, pull up the coil-on plug. Whole thing pops right out. Now use a 5/8 socket, and we will clean off before. We'll use the air compressor to clean off the top of the spark plug area, and then now we're gonna pull this off. But so far, if the passenger side is anything like the driver's side, dude, this is like a 10-minute job. This is super easy. So this is what a 70,000 mile spark plug looks like. And look at the length of that electrode. Just gonna see if we can kind of zoom in, see how much is left versus brand new. Kind of see it's down a little bit, but not too bad. I'll be curious to see if we notice any difference in performance and fuel economy. Super easy to pull out too. 2 extensions, Easy peasy. Let's put the new one in now. Okay, we got 3 new spark plugs in. We got the first coil on plug in. We're gonna throw in the second now. Plugs are tightened down. Just squeak these in here. It's pretty easy actually. This is a really easy. You know, people give such a hard time for Ford for a lot of things. Tell you what, spark plugs on a 3.5 EcoBoost is about easy. If you can't change a spark plug in something like this, you probably shouldn't be changing spark plugs. This is, I've got, by the time this is all said and done, screwed down, tightened down, harnesses on the clips all installed, I'll have maybe 10 minutes on the driver's side. So this is a 20-minute job, probably tops. Okay, so what I'm gonna show you guys, this one's tightened down here. You take your plug, pop it on here like that. You'll feel it click. Then you just push this in, boom, that one's on. Tighten this down. Don't use an impact. Consult the manual for the torque spec on everything if you're not comfortable doing this. Like I said, for more in-depth review of how to do the specific install of the spark plugs, I'll have you consult Brian at Ford Tech Make You Loco. Okay, so second coil on plug popped on here. Feel it click, wiggle it around, snap that in. Just pull back, see, tight. Do this back one, clicked on, boom. Now, just to double check, tight, tight, tight. All right, driver side's done. Let's go to the passenger side. Okay, so we've got, these are the driver side plugs. Here's the passenger side. If we look at the color of each of the tips, they look pretty similar. I don't see any red flags showing anything about any cylinders not firing the same. All the coloring looks good. All the amount of tip left, corrosion. You know, in full fairness, I bet you could get 100,000 miles out of these spark plugs without much of an issue. But for the purpose of this video, I'll show you guys how easy it is. We already got the front 2 done. We're gonna put in the last one now. That's it, guys. It's that simple. Now we'll put the cover back on top of the engine. So that's the spark plug. I went with the OEM SP594. Some might ask, why did I stick with the spark plug? Well, here's the original plugs. They look great. I've never had an issue with Motorcraft spark plugs. Brian at Make You Tech Loco, I think is how you say his name. I don't want to butcher it. I apologize if I did, Brian. But he recommends this. I'm going to follow what these guys recommend. Easy job. Engine cover's back on. Now we're going to pop the air filter off. I'm going to show you what this looks like. It's dirty. Now let's compare this versus the Wix one. Okay, so you guys might ask, Barry, why do you want to go with a Wix versus Motorcraft OEM? Because I'm a huge fan of the Motorcraft filters. I've had good luck with them. But we noticed when we went to O'Reilly's today that there's 2 versions of this filter, which is odd. It's just shaped wild, the differences. Ripple's even different here. See the ridges here? Yeah. Shape different. It's crazy they're both OEM, both Motorcraft, both the same part numbers, and look completely different. I think I'm gonna go with the Wix. Don't you think? What would you do?
I think, I mean, you're going to
get more filter media. You're going to get more life out of that one. And I kind of wanted to try this Wix one because it's literally got like 50% more filtration. If you look at the pleats, I'm just going to stand this up on its edge. I mean, look at that. Look how much more filtration you have. That's wild. And the other thing too is when I flip it over here and just compare the top side, I don't know. Foam feels a little better. I already checked it fits good. This one is made in Mexico, and I believe that one's made in Mexico. Yeah, made in Mexico, made in Mexico. So anyhow, we're gonna throw this in now. Another thing I recommend doing, clean out the bottom of your air filter and all the interfacing sides where this might seal top and bottom. I already kind of just threw a rag through there and clean that up real good. I mean, you could see how easy of a job this is. I mean, literally, that's it. Push this down, squeeze that, boom, boom, that's it. Air filter's done. Air filter, spark plug's gonna do an oil change, and we'll see how this thing compares for performance. Oh, and we got the new battery in it. No surprises, right? silky smooth. 3.5 EcoBoost is a pretty decent engine. Seems like they've got it now worked out in the last few years, especially if you've got one like mine where you've already done the cam phasers and whatnot. All right, we're gonna reset our fuel economy for this trip and reset our main fuel economy. We'll see how this thing does for the 2,000-mile journey. All right, we're gonna do the 30-second method here. Let's see where we end up at. 24.15 gallons. Let's see where hand calculated is. Typical Ford fashion, computer says 18.6, hand calculated 17.3. That's first fill up premium fuel. Now this tank we're gonna do 87 octane. Let's see what we get on that. Okay, second fill up, 23 gallons. Let's see what we get hand calculated. 435 miles, computer said 20.1 mile per gallon. Let's see what hand calculated is. We have 23.08 gallons. So pretty consistent. Computer is about over 1 mile per gallon, a little bit on the high side versus hand calculated. But premium versus 87 octane didn't show much difference for fuel economy. Got the next fill up. So we're gonna do 30-second method here. .578 gallons. Let's see what we get hand calculated. And we did 87 octane again. All right, so computer said 18.2 for this tank. Let's see what we got for hand calculated. 314.5 miles divided by 18.578. Consistent theme, less than the computer. 18.2 versus 16.9. So here's a quick little clip. We got caught in that nasty tornado shelter-in-place situation here on the trip home down in Columbus, Ohio. What a mess. Glad that we were able to get out of it unscathed. All right, 30-second method here. All right, let's figure out the hand calculated here for our final fill up. So we got 367 miles, 21 gallons. Total trip, I wanted to show you guys for the whole trip, 19.2 for the computer. And if you want to see how this thing's holding up after 72,000 miles, dude, this is the interior of a Lincoln Navigator that's 6 model years old. Interior's in great shape. Kids are hard on this thing too. I still think this is the most beautiful interior. Alcantara all on the roof, nothing sagging, nothing looking bad. Thing looks great and it's had a hard life. Everything still works, every light and every interior. Simple, even simple silly things like the light inside of the your seat belt. But everything's holding up really great. So after now seeing the installation of spark plugs, I went with OEM spark plugs with the filter, oil change, a 2,000-mile drive. We compare this to a trip we just did a few months back. I'll put a link down below in the description. But we did about, I think about a 1,400-mile trip with a similar payload. We might even have had a little bit more payload this time in this trip. 4 people, a lot of junk in the vehicle, cruising at a pretty good clip of speed. But we saw about a 3% improvement. We're still in cold weather. We still got winter blend fuel, but you could tell a bit of a difference in improvement. Now you could say 3%, does that pay off? Well, if you're spending $400 a month in fuel, 3% of $400 is $12 a month, right? It's not a ton. $12 a month over 12 months is $144 a year. You'll get your payoff in this repair in less than 1 year. So to me, I think it's worth it. And I'll be now reaping the benefits of this for the next 3-4 years. And plus it's one less thing I need to worry about. And there's also other huge benefits of when you go under the hood, open the hood, take a look at this. There might be times of when you're crawling around on your vehicle, just doing routine maintenance, you find a problem before there's a problem. And that could be the difference between sitting on the side of the road broken down or not. So I'm a big fan of doing scheduled maintenance, and in my opinion, do it before it's actually required, because a lot of times these are stretched out maintenance intervals. These manufacturers use sometimes, I think, exaggerated numbers to try to look like their vehicles require less maintenance than some of the competitive vehicles. I don't know. With that being said, you looked at the spark plugs. I had 70,000 miles on this versus the OEM, or the OEM spark plugs versus the new ones. They did not look bad, in full fairness. But hey, use this data for you guys to say, is it worth it to you? I do truly believe this thing idles a touch smoother. I also do believe I had a tiny bit better improvement in fuel economy. Also to add on this trip, we only did premium on one of the tanks. and then we did regular the rest. And I didn't really see any improvement for fuel economy of premium versus 91 plus versus 87 for fuel economy, but I did notice a little bit bump in performance. So you got to weigh that out if you want it or not. This cool weather, towing on the highway or not towing on the highway, I don't know. I think 87 is totally fine for my needs, but that's for you to decide. To add on to the topic of the 30-second method. So with the 30-second method, what that means is you're not technically supposed to fill your tank up in these vehicles to where you see fuel basically running out. There's a reason the handle stops so the fuel doesn't overflow, because you don't want to fill up your charcoal canister. It'll wreck it over time. You'll have other problems. But the Fast Lane Truck guys on YouTube here, they did a video in the past where they do what they call the 30-second method. The reason for the 30-second method is to rule out any variation in the fuel pumps and tolerances, where if the pump clicks off, if you do a 30 seconds after the pump clicks off, one last pull, you kind of try to remove some of that variation from pump to pump. Generally, we try to fill up at the same gas stations, but when you're doing a long road trip, that's not possible. But we did see a lot of similarities here. 19 on the computer, really probably going to be about 18 hand calculated. I'm consistently, nothing against Ford. I love Ford. I love Lincoln. This is the best full-size SUV I've ever owned. I'd buy one again in a heartbeat. I love this thing. It's a beautiful, beautiful cruiser on the highway. I still believe this is the best full-size out there for a smooth, long, over-the-road distance hauling for comfort, safety, fuel economy, performance. But I'm yet to own a Ford vehicle that actually hand calculated comes to getting the actual computer. And I think I'm about 45 Ford vehicles now, and I've never had one do it. Check that. My 23 Super Duty high output would get darn near hand calculated. The Ford diesels have gotten close, but never a Ford gas vehicle. But anyhow, guys, I hope you enjoy this video, and thanks for watching. And you can make this decision for yourself if you think a little bit of routine maintenance is worth it for you for fuel economy and just a little peace of mind. Thanks for watching.